Hello, I'm Layla McKinnon. Welcome to A Current Affair. When he campaigned to take back office, Donald Trump told the world he'd be a dictator, but only on day one. That made the world sit up and take notice. But 340 days later, what does America look like under the man who vowed to turn Washington, D.C. on its head?
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
We're going to have to go through a little tough love, maybe. I don't want to be cute. I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something. They were getting yippy, you know? They were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid. My life was saved for a reason. I was saved by God to make America great again.
On January 20th, here at the US Capitol, Donald Trump was sworn in for a second term. It was seen as the greatest political comeback in American history. Trump, just the second president to leave office and return 4 years later. As leader of the free world once again, President 47 was emboldened like never before.
The golden age of America begins right now.
One of his first actions on his first day in office, pardoning more than 1,500 January 6 rioters.
They'll all be null and void.
The very people who 4 years earlier had stormed the very place Trump had just taken the oath of office.
They've served years in jail, and murderers don't even go to jail in this country. These people have already served years in prison, and they've served them viciously. It's a disgusting prison.
The era of Trump 2.0 had begun, and the president was looking to redefine the White House.
He had won a decisive victory. That cannot be taken away from him. He won significantly.
Jane, pleasure to meet you.
Oh, pleasure to meet you too.
Jane Hall is a professor of communications at American University. She follows the administration closely.
He has moved pretty drastically on a number of different fronts, and very quickly, as if he had a mandate and as if he was going to, in many ways, break everything, tear everything apart, and move so quickly on so many different fronts.
Trump declared he'd drain the swamp once again, and to help him do so, his unconventional cabinet.
We are ending federal micromanagement.
A former wrestling executive to head up the education department they promised to abolish. A Fox News host leading the rebranded Department of War. Vaccine skeptic RFK Jr. in charge of Health and Human Services. And there was the richest man in the world.
The people voted for major government reform, and that's what people are going to get.
They called him the First Buddy.
What influence did he have over Donald Trump in the White House?
I don't know if you'd call them frenemies. They have a mutually beneficial relationship. And it was striking to see Musk in a black T-shirt. You know, I'm a student of visuals, basically lording it over all these other people. He had no government experience. And they had to sit there and, you know, listen to him. And I think it was a real power play.
With his second term underway,
now it's our turn to do the ripping.
Donald Trump launched what would become his defining policy.
My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day.
185 nations hit with extraordinary tariffs.
I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my ass. They are dying to make it here. The markets are going to boom, the stock is going to boom, the country is going to boom.
The initial shock sent markets spiralling, a Trump slump.
Another brutal day on Wall Street. The market's tanking.
The US president stands accused of putting the world on the brink of a global trade war.
But the president claimed cash was pouring in, and so Trump turned focus to one of his key election promises, cracking down on immigration. Summer had arrived in North America and the political temperature was soaring. The US president on a crusade against crime, making the unprecedented call to federalise the National Guard.
They spent we hit.
Soldiers rolling out on the streets of LA in a bid to quell immigration protests.
Immigrants built this city, there's no denying that, and when they're trying to take that out, it's not okay.
Days after sending soldiers to the streets, the Commander-in-Chief sent B-2 bombers to the skies. Operation Midnight Hammer, Donald Trump ordering airstrikes on 3 Iranian nuclear sites.
Tonight I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
Peace through strength, he promised, as solving world conflicts became an intense focus and frustration.
They don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Trump's defining foreign policy moment came, securing a US-led ceasefire in Gaza.
This is the historic dawn of a new Middle East.
You stand before the people of Israel not as another American president, but as a giant of Jewish history.
The US president made no secret he wanted a Nobel Peace Prize, and one conflict he'd been unable to solve was the war in Ukraine. He opted for high-stakes diplomacy, rolling out the red carpet for a pariah of the world. Vladimir Putin welcomed to US soil for the first time in 10 years for a meeting that produced no clear path to peace.
Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Next time in Moscow.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
The warmth stood in stark contrast to Trump's terse talks with the leader of Ukraine.
Have you said thank you once this entire meeting?
No. Volodymyr Zelensky, in his trademark army fatigues, delivered a dressing down.
You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
The one certainty of these Oval Office talks is unpredictability. Dozens of world leaders have visited the White House this year, and with the cameras always rolling, Donald Trump, the showman, is always thinking of the show.
This is going to be great television, I will say that.
Donald Trump is first and foremost an entertainment-oriented person. He has the camera. I've talked to people who have seen him. I've met him. He has what things look like in the camera, always at the forefront.
Rigged election, he knows about rigged elections better than anybody.
And when our own Prime Minister arrived for his long-awaited White House visit, it was the Australian ambassador unwittingly scoring the front row of the Trump show.
Did an ambassador say something bad about it? Don't tell me. I don't. Where is he? Is he still working for you?
Yeah.
You said bad?
Before I took this position, Mr. President.
I don't like you either. I don't, and I probably never will.
As autumn leaves began to fall, the East Wing was entirely knocked down, while the Oval Office became adorned with an increasing amount of gold.
I can't tell you how much that gold costs, a lot of money. There's nothing like gold in this.
A new headline every day, from the announcement of the so-called Golden Dome to the US president goading Canada, saying it would become the 51st state, and attacks on the press became increasingly personal.
I mean, the problem is he says so many things that are very outrageous. He has certain tropes that he uses, and they get attention, and then kind of the world moves on.
But one lingering shadow remains over the administration, the Epstein files.
This seems to have stuck with his base, and that's why I think it has been concerning.
Look, this is a Democrat hoax.
It has been a moment about sex trafficking and abuse of women, and a platform for these women that, of course, the Democrats have embraced. And he has been very embarrassed, and he has held out, and it has led to questions of what is there? How, is he in any way implicated?
2026 is now knocking on the door. For President 47, it's 1 year down and 3 more to go.
And the US president has actually toyed with the idea of a third term. Is that something that's even possible?
I know people were worried that he was going to assert this, and he asserts things a million times, and they begin to sound like, well, oh, that's possible, you know?
I know what the hell I'm doing. I know what I'm doing, and you know what I'm doing too. That's why you vote for me.
And we've still got 3 more years to go. You can't help but wonder what 2026 will bring.